But sometimes a movie needs more than just one piece to be good. Speaking
Yes.
of which, Two Piece, by which I mean One Piece season 2 on Netflix.
Yes. Yeah. So this was my solo review for the week. Finally got through. Finally got through watching season 2 of One Piece, the live action One Piece, not the anime.
Right. See, I don't think that season 2 of the anime is technically dropped yet, because due to a weirdness with how they have opted to, or how they structured the original anime, it's all been one season, 1,000 episode season.
Yeah. Whew. And however many volumes of the manga there have been.
Yep.
But yeah, so One Piece season 2 picks up where season 1 left off. You've got the Straw Hat Pirates, led by Monkey D. Luffy. They're off to go to the Grand Line to find the One Piece so that Luffy can become king of the pirates. And of course, he's got his crew, going from left to right. You got Sanji, who's the chef. You got Roronoa Zoro, who used to be a pirate hunter, but now he's a pirate. You got Nami, the thief turned navigator, and then Usopp, who's just
Oh, that's Usopp on the end. Okay.
that's Usopp. Yeah, he was basically just he uses a slingshot and he likes to tell tall tales. And so for this season, the first episode starts off in Loguetown, which is their last stop before going to the Grand Line. And it is of course, they happen to be in Loguetown on the anniversary of celebrating the execution of the old pirate king. I can't remember what his name was.
Gold Roger.
Gold Roger, yeah. So it's the anniversary of Gold Roger's execution, and of course, the whole thing there was Luffy wants to actually go up there and see it, and of course they all split up, and hijinks ensue when the new one of the new villains in the season. Well, okay, so there are two competing villains for this season. You've got what were they called? Well, I can't remember. It starts with a B. This gang of pirate hunters. I can't remember their names. It starts with a B. I keep wanting to say the Bartmoss, something like that. But anyway.
Sorry, you've exceeded as far as I got into One Piece.
Oh, okay. Well, one of them is actually Nico Robin. And so you've got them, and they all have code names. So like Nico Robin is called what was her name? All Day Wednesday, I think, or All Day Miss All Sunday. Yeah, they're either named after a day of the week or a number. And then of course you've got the Marines. Also have the Marines going after the Straw Hat Pirates, and the new Marine guy is Smoker, and he's this guy. He's got silver slick back white hair, and he is always smoking 2 cigars at the same time. And of course he and like Monkey D. Luffy, he too ate the devil fruit, and he can turn his body into smoke. So the hijinks ensue there, where they all they have this big fight, and villains from the previous season, like the clown guy, shows up.
Buggy the Clown.
Buggy the Clown, yeah, and then the pirate queen from the first episode, the fat lady, is there, and
is she still fat when she shows up?
Not as fat. I think the actress might have lost some weight, but she's still a little heavy. Yeah.
The reason I ask is that the character eventually, I thought this was an amusing bit when I did read this far in the manga. I guess I was reading this in like the Shonen Jump print magazines, so I wasn't reading every volume. But like, she eventually eats a devil fruit that makes her thin and like objectively sexy, but she thinks that her good looks were ruined.
Oh.
So,
Oh man.
so that's why that's why I was curious. Just like, okay, did that happen yet?
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, so they have this big fight, and of course they're also fighting the Marines. And just as Buggy the Clown is about to execute Luffy, Luffy is laughing, and Smoker sees that, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, he's laughing in the face of death. This is not good," because the whole thing with the One Piece is that all of these pirates all go off to the Grand Line to get the One Piece. Of course, all of them eventually fail. But then they meet Monkey D. Luffy, and they're like, "Oh, maybe he could be the one to find the One Piece," just because of how he is. Um, and so then they leave Lowtown, and then they eventually get into the Grand Line. And of course, the rest of the show is basically very episodic, where usually, like, although each like arc is usually takes like 2 or 3 episodes, and it's basically just them going through and meeting new people, and getting into all kinds of trouble, and and trying not to get into trouble with the pirate hunters or anything like that, and
Or the Marines,
or the
or
Marines. Yeah, yeah. And but like much like the first season, it's the I think what makes the show work, and a lot of people other people have pointed this out, is it leans into the absurdity of the anime. It embraces the anime. It's not like the Cowboy Bebop live action that was like embarrassed by the fact that it's based on an anime. This is actually, they're embracing the absurdity of it, the character designs, the costumes, everything.
so I will say it is a rare case where, because I believe it's the same production staff as the Cowboy Bebop show, or at least some of the shared staff.
I think that's so. Yeah, yeah.
So I think there's two things. One, it does actually show a willingness to admit fault and learn from previous mistakes. So you know what, uh, great job. It takes a lot of but it takes a lot of humility to be willing to do that, especially after some of the roasting they got online.
Right. Yeah.
Um, the other thing is that I think One Piece lends itself up to a goofy, because I don't think anybody's going to watch One Piece who wouldn't be interested in something kind of goofy and fun.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I could see an executive or even like the production staff going, Cowboy Bebop is a pretty serious story. Like, I think you can get adults to watch this who don't actually like anime. So let's see if we can appeal to them.
Yeah.
Not a mistake they seem to have made here.
No, 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 that hasn't. And I will say that the actors play their parts really well. I mean, the guy playing Luffy is I mean, I think spot on. Um, and I will say, like, the actress playing Nami, I really like her. And a lot of people were making a big deal about that one scene where she's wearing a bikini. Like, that part lasts like 5 seconds. Where you see her in a bikini. Like, it's not very long. Like,
Look, the internet makes mountains out of molehill professionally.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's a probably not as good as the first season, but I overall enjoyed it. Um, the only negative I will say is not the last episode, but the second to last episode was a little bit of a filler, because they go off to an island called, it was from the what was it, the something kingdom. It's a cold island. I can't remember the name of. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the names of a lot of stuff lately. I mean, but it's the island where the king had the mechanical jaw.
Okay, I know that I've seen the character. That part I definitely haven't seen in anything.
Yeah. But in this one episode, but in this arc, that's where you meet Tony Chopper, who's he's the reindeer who when he's in his small form, he looks like a teddy bear.
Right, and he turns into a big buff guy.
Right. Yeah. We get his backstory, his sad backstory. And the other thing too, I want to mention, the doctor in their her name was the character's name, yeah, Doctor Cura, was played by Katie Seagal, who most people remember. She was Peg Bundy from Married with Children. She also voiced Leela on Futurama. So she's in there. She was really good.
Okay, now that's a name I haven't heard for a while.
Yeah, I haven't either. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if you watched the first season of One Piece, you probably watched this one too. But go check it out, and if you're so inclined, currently on Netflix. Hopefully, we won't have to wait another 3 years for season 3.
Yeah, that seems like they're kind of. I think they weren't ready for it to be a big deal the first time around. So because I mean, honestly, with the track record that a lot of these anime have, or anime
Yeah.
adaptations have.
Yeah, that's true. But
Oh, I did have one question.
yeah,
So we're kind of looking at Usopp here head on.
yeah,
So first off, they did a little bit of Netflix casting with him.
yeah.
But the biggest reason I didn't recognize him was because did they give him the big, super long nose in this one?
No, they didn't. He's got a normal nose.
That's so boring.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, I guess I understand the actor not wanting to wear a piece like that, but still.
Yeah. He has the whatever the goggles though. He wears those sometimes, but
I guess
no.
that's something.
Yeah. But he doesn't have a schnoz.